Okay, I'm testing my attempted Separatory funnel, which is a water bottle that I cut the top off of. I'm going to test this. This is some oil with some food coloring in it. You can see that the food coloring is not very oil soluble. I'm going to mix it with some water. If it separates, then I am predicting that we will see the dye moved to the aqueous layer. And then I will see how well this actually works to separate it. I think they design it so that, you know, if you have it open and you have it turned upside down, it doesn't drip out, which unfortunately is what I want. This has a kind of a large opening, but it seems like if you turn it upside down when it's open, it has only a slow drip. So hopefully that will work. Our oil here is getting a little bit greener with the food coloring, but not, as you can see, really oil soluble. Okay, so I have poured the oil in there. There's still some coloring left in there. So this is just water. Obviously a lot more soluble. You can see the leftover oil is quite immiscible with that. This is just canola oil. So we're gonna pour that in there. And you can see that separating pretty quickly. We will check back on it in a few minutes. Okay, so it's been about 20 minutes, half an hour. And as you can see, there's a little bit of liquid that's collecting here in this jar, which is a little bit disappointing. That means it's not completely leak-proof, but our layers have separated fairly well. Unfortunately, this water bottle had a label on it, so the sticky residue makes it a little bit less clear than would be ideal. But I think you can still see that pretty well. That would be harder to do with things that were the same color or not as clearly defined. But we will see how that will work. Hopefully when we move it, it won't disturb the layers too much. That is my number one concern here. Okay, so I have switched the container here. Unfortunately, moving it did disturb it a little bit, so I'm going to have to be very careful. This is obviously not a high-tech solution. I'm going to open my nozzle here and hopefully not mess up my layers too much. You can see it's coming out, that aqueous layer with that green dye. I'm trying to hold it still. This is coming out faster than I think is ideal, but better than nothing. I think this will be a workable solution for most of my applications. Getting towards the end now, so okay. Obviously not great to do with, you know, caustic chemicals or anything that you would not want to touch for obvious reasons. Okay, there's a little bit of green in there, but I think I got a fair amount of it. I can see that there's a little bit of oil in here. And my guess would be that would be from moving it because it's gonna unfortunately be a little bit mixed when I had to move the bottle to the other thing and then also to open the stopper. But overall, fairly good it looks like. So in that last clip, you couldn't really see what was happening super well because of the unfortunate way that I had to place my phone to film this. So here is a better look at that. And you can see here is my aqueous layer. You can tell that it's aqueous layer because it's got the water-soluble dye in it. You can see some little oil bubbles there, showing that it's not a perfectly pure yield. Here's my oil. You can see the small amount of green still left at the bottom. That's the layer that I stopped the stopper before it got to. And you can see again that there's a little bit of dripping even when it's closed. This is plain water, so we'll see if it and you can tell that that is the at least mostly aqueous layer, because when I put that drop of water in, it didn't bead up, and that's what we expected, because that's what we expected from the dye. But just to show you how you would test that if you were not sure, here is our oil layer, and when we drop water into that, you can see that bead up. So there you have it. That's my makeshift separatory funnel out of a water bottle. I will try some other ones. I also got a soap bottle that had a similar top, and we'll try that to see if that is any better at preventing those drips. Otherwise, we might just have to accept that as being the way that it is, which is fine for my home purposes.